Hello everyone, welcome to the DBMS online lectures. So in this lecture we will see DBMS architectures and classification of DBMS. So first we'll look into the centralized DBMS architecture. In the centralized DBMS architecture, it combines everything into a single system. Okay, so what all the things it will include? It will include or it will combine DBMS software, hardware, application programs and user interfaces and other processing softwares. So everything, like what all the things you require to process any application, so that will be combined or installed in one centralized system or one single system. So how the user can access this? So user will access this system or the centralized system using the remote terminal. Okay, so for example, you might have seen in the bill processing systems, like you are paying bill like in Bangalore One and all. So there you'll be having the different terminal devices like monitors and the keyboards. Okay, so these systems or these monitors or the keyboards will be connected remotely to the servers. So application will be residing in one system, okay, centralized system, and then you're just placing the request. Your job is to type some queries or some request using monitor and the keyboard, and that monitor will be connected, or it is called as a remote terminal, which will be connected to the centralized site using network. Okay, using the network or via the network, the remote terminal will be connected to the centralized site. Here you can see the concept, like we have a terminals like display terminal, and these display terminals are connected over the network, and this is the centralized site where you can see all the different softwares like application programs, terminal display control, text editor, and the DBMS data also residing in the same system. Then we have compiler. So what all the tools we require, so everything will be the centralized site. Okay, and even the different hardware devices also connected to the centralized site. So what is the job of the client here? So the user. So user will be having only the terminal device. Okay, the end user can access the application using the terminal. Just he will place the request on the terminal. Now the next thing is basic two-tier client server architecture. So in the client server architecture, we will be having two separate category of systems. One is called as client, another one is a server. Here, what all the specific functions that should be processed or executed, for that we have a dedicated system. Okay, we have a separate systems which will perform a specialized functions or the task. Now clients can access these specialized systems, those are called as the servers, whenever they require. So based on the specific application or specific process, we have a we have print server, which will do or which will service only the print request, and file server, which will manage the files, different kind of files. Then DBMS server, it manages the databases. Okay, like that we have a separate servers for a specific function. Okay, now here you can see the clients are connected to the different servers over the network. Either you can use local area networks or the Wi-Fi or wireless networks. Now the client, how it will access the database, because it has the application in it, but to get the data it has to access the server. So for that it uses application program interfaces. Okay, using application program interfaces, it will access the database. Okay, so whatever the client software module is required to access the server resources, it must be installed or configured in the client machine. Okay, So you have an application program interface, that is the standard which is used to access the database, and then it will convert the particular request into the database understandable format. Okay, so these clients may be like diskless machines or PCs or workstations with limited capacity, like they have to install the application interfaces, okay, application programming interfaces, and what is the application actually you are going to execute, that must be installed. And then they have a direct access to the database, but how directly it can access, for that we need a application program interface. Now the server, it provides the database query and transaction services. Okay, whatever request it gets from the client, so that request will be processed by the database server. Okay, like query execution, transaction execution, so that will be done at the server side. So in both the machines, like client and the server machine, you have to use the proper softwares like for processing the request, either client module and the server module. So appropriate client module and server module must be installed in client and the server machines. Now, as I said, the standard APIs are used. There are two different APIs like ODBC and JDBC, Open Database Connectivity, and JDBC is for Java programs, okay, Java Programming Access. Here Java Database Connectivity. So if your application program you have written in Java, then you can go for JDBC connectivity. Okay, Open Database Connectivity means it is developed by Microsoft and it can be used for any kind of programs. It is not just only it is specific to Java. It's not like that. So it can use any language, whatever language you have used for application program, that will work. So it is like a open database connectivity. Okay, so it is not dependent on the architecture or the platform. Now, as I said, like client and server must install the appropriate client module and server module for the ODBC and JDBC. So you will be having the driver modules like JDBC drivers or ODBC drivers. So using that you can access the database, and those drivers are responsible for converting the converting your user request to database understandable format. That means it will execute and it will prepare the statement for the execution and then executes the statement. Like normal SQL queries will be executed by these drivers. Then a client program, it will connect to several DBMSs. Okay, so that means it is not only connecting to a single DBMS, it may connect to a different data sources. So if I say several DBMSs means you can have different data sources. Data source is not just the DBMS or the database management system. It can have a different files also. Okay, how in which format you are storing the data, maybe like a document format, or it may be a XML sheet. So all these are called as the data sources. Okay, even some software which manages the data is also called as a data source. Okay, so client can connect to several data sources. Now the next third category is three-tier client-server architecture. So this is very common in web application. Okay, it is very common in web application where you have three different layers. One is the presentation layer, then we have a business layer, or then our application layer, business or application layer, and then at the lower level we have a database layer. Like you want to store the information in the database, right? So at the lower level you will be having the DBMS. Okay. Now how these will access, like how client will access the data here. In the client server, two-tier we have seen directly it will access the database or the source. But here there is no direct access, but it has to go through the web server or the application server. Okay, between client and the database server, we have a application server or the web server. So whenever the user places the request, so usually in web application, the client will use the web browser or some user interfaces. So using that interface, he will place the request and that will be processed at the web server. Okay, web server or the application server. So it will apply the application or the business logic, and whichever data is required, so that will be fetched from the database. Okay, so that is the kind of processing done at the web server or the application server. Now what database server will do? It will just manage all the data, like defining, constructing, everything will be done, and storing will be done by the database server. It is like a repository. From there you have to fetch and you have to process at the middle layer, and then that will be presented on your web browser. So because of this three layer architecture, it will provide you the security. Okay, it will enhance the security. How it will enhance? Because client cannot access the data directly. Okay, it just uses the web browser or some interfaces. That's why there is no direct connection between client and database server. That's why the data will be secured. Okay, only through the web server or the application server it has to access. So there it can perform some security, it can take some security measures like encryption, decryption, all those things will be done at that layer. Okay, because it has to go through the data server to application server, right? So in that way it will secure the data, and then it will provide that data to the user or the client. Normally clients means here they will use the PC or mobile applications, but it must be connected to the network. Now this is the example or the description of this three-tier client server architecture. Here you can see at the client side you have user interfaces and web browsers. Okay, so this is called presentation logic or presentation layer, and then application server or the web server. So whatever request or the whatever message or the request you are placing at the GUI or the interface, that will be sent to the application program or the web server, and there at the web server it will process it, and for processing it will access the database, because you have to fetch some details from the database or you want to store some data into the database server, right? So that's why it will access the database management system. Okay, so here clearly you can see the three layers. Presentation layer, in that your web browser will come, and in business logic layer, so your web server will perform the application logic here, and then database services layer. So here you will be having your database management system. Now we'll see what are the classification of DBMSs. So based on the data model which we are using, we have legacy systems like network or hierarchical models. Okay, in network model, it will connect the related databases or related things. If there is any interconnection, then we'll use the network model. And hierarchical means it's like a tree structure. Like in the operating system, we are storing the different information related to disks, right? Storage. So there it will use the hierarchical model. Then the currently used data models are like relational, object oriented, object relational models. Okay, and recently we are using the new technologies for big data processing and all. So those are like key value storage systems, NoSQL systems, then XML based systems. Okay, so these are used for big data analytics. And then other classifications includes single user or multi-user depending on the number of users. Okay, single user means you have a standalone application which you have installed in your personal computers, and multi-user means like several users are using the same DBMSs. Then centralized versus distributed database management systems. In centralized, as I said, you'll be having one computer with all facilities. Okay, so it has everything like all the software, hardware, everything will be installed in one system, that is called as a centralized database system, database management system. Then distributed means the database will be like it will be distributed among multiple computers. So that is called as a distributed database management system. So here instead of single database, you will be having multiple databases which are there in different systems. Now we'll see the variations of distributed DBMSs. We have homogeneous distributed DBMSs and heterogeneous, then federated. Okay, so homogeneous means, as I said, you are storing the databases in multiple systems, right? So all these different systems will have a common structure of a database systems. That means the model which we are using or the software which we are using to maintain the databases will be same in all the systems. But in heterogeneous means it is like an autonomous system. So they have their own data models or the technologies used in the system. For example, in one system you have used network database model, and in another one you are using hierarchical data model, or in other system you are using relational data model. Okay, so like that the different systems will have different kind of softwares and the structures to maintain the databases. Okay, so that's why it is called as a heterogeneous database systems, distributed database systems. Then federated means, here you think like you have separate centralized DBMSs. Okay, centralized DBMSs located in different locations, and they have their own local systems. Okay, so multiple centralized systems are there, and you are grouping these centralized systems. Are you getting? So for example, in DBMS lab, I have one centralized site which is used for executing all DBMS programs, right? And in network lab, I have separate server I'm using to store the information there. And now I will connect the network, whatever database server I have in the network lab, and then the DBMS lab. Okay, so like this we will combine, or we will make a cluster of different centralized systems. So that is called as a federated multi-database systems. So here each centralized systems in the federated multi-database system will have their own local systems. Okay, they have their own degree of autonomy. That means they are like autonomous systems. They are used for separate purpose, but I am grouping all these centralized systems and making one multi-database system. Then distributed database systems, nowadays they called as client server based database systems, because I'm not distributing the databases among multiple systems. Instead of that, we'll have a server kind of arrangements. Like in one system, we'll have a database stored, and it will perform the it will service the database request. Okay, so that's why rather than having a distributed databases in multiple systems, we'll be having one server system where we will dump all the information, or it will manage the entire databases. Okay, so that's why sometimes it is called as a client server based database systems. So now see what all the things we have covered in this chapter. we have covered data models and their categories, then schemas, instances and states we have seen, 3 schema architecture, data independence, DBMS languages and interfaces, database system utilities and tools, then database system environment, centralized and client server architectures, and then classification of DBMSs. Okay, so in the next chapter we'll see the conceptual design, like how you are going to design the database model and what are the different models you are using to design the conceptual things. Okay, so thanks for watching. We'll see in the next lecture. Till then, take care. Bye.